Visual phasing usually involves having three siblings, their DNA, and comparing it to each other to identify which segments came from which grandparent. Now, many people have asked, well, can you do visual phasing with two siblings instead of three siblings? And the answer is, yeah, it's a little bit different process, but we're going to go over it today. Howdy, welcome to Family History Fanatics, where we love helping you climb your family tree and have fun along the way. There are some differences with visual phasing with two siblings as opposed to three siblings. And it mainly has to do with assigning recombination points and figuring out what those segments are. You need to start with matches. If you don't know how some of your matches are related to those two siblings, then you're not going to be able to do visual phasing with it. But let's go through the process step by step and see how you can do this with just two siblings. Now, the first step is you need two siblings data. And right now it needs to be uploaded to GEDmatch so that you can actually see both the half identical regions as well as the fully identical regions. So if you haven't uploaded your sibling data to GEDmatch, then do that now. Now, the first principle to remember throughout this is that each chromosome is separate and unrelated to others. You can't use the data from one chromosome to try to fill in information on another chromosome. You have to think of this as really 22 separate projects that you're doing for the 22 separate autosomal chromosome pairs. Now, step two, after you have everything uploaded to GEDmatch, is you want to use the one-to-one comparison to get the graphics. And in this case, since you only have two people, you only really need the one graphic for each one of those chromosomes. Whereas when we had three people, we needed three different graphics to get all the comparisons. So here is my graphics of my two people, person A and person B. What we've done is we've taken and blown them up a little bit so they're easier to see, but you have both the yellow, green, red on the top and then the blue, black on the bottom. So let's go over these color regions and what they mean. Now, the first one is if you have a solid green area, and then there's blue underneath it. That indicates a fully matched region, a fully identical region. And that's basically where both siblings receive the same DNA from both of their parents. The next is the yellow, and usually with some little bits of green interspersed, and then blue underneath. And this is the half matched region or half identical region. In other words, they each got the same DNA from one of their parents in these locations. And finally, there is wherever you have some red, and there's usually some yellow mixed in with it, and sometimes there might be a stripe of green or so, and then it's going to be black underneath. This indicates that it is not a match. In other words, they received different DNA from both of their parents, and so that's why they're not matching for that. Now, principle number two is that as the color regions change, these are the recombination points. And you can see I've highlighted them here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 recombination points on this chromosome. Now, when you think about this, each person has two chromosomes, a pair, and there's two people. So while there's 7 recombination points in the comparison, well, those 7 recombination points are distributed just between these 4 chromosomes. So it's entirely possible that one or more of those chromosomes have no recombination points and the others have 3 or 4. We'll see as we get some more data. Another principle 3 to be concerned with is that a fully matched region, remember the solid green, it cannot be adjacent to a no match region, which would be the red with the black. So there's always going to be a half match region in between a fully matched region and a no match region. And that's just something to be aware of. It usually only comes up in a couple of places, but just keep that in your mind. All right, so step 3 now. We've downloaded our data. We have it in, a Word file, a spreadsheet, however you want to do it. We're going to draw our recombination lines. Remember, we identified our recombination points is where the color changes. And so we're simply going to draw some lines now of those recombination points. And this is going to help us to build out the different chromosomes later. Well, principle 4 is that every chromosome pair has a maternal and a paternal chromosome. So you get one chromosome from your mother and you get one chromosome from your father. Recombination points usually don't happen at the exact same place on those two chromosomes. They might happen really close together by chance, but they don't happen in the exact same place. And so we want to make it a goal to identify which ones are the paternal and which ones are the maternal chromosomes. All right, so now we go on to step 4. And since each person has 2 chromosomes for this pair, we want to create a graphic of the 2 chromosomes for each person. And this is just really easy as far as having a box with 2 stacked chromosomes underneath this. And so you can see with the lines identifying the recombination points, we've actually separated out these chromosomes into potential segments. Now I say potential segments because each one of these chromosomes does not have all of these recombination points. Before we continue, if you want to support our work, there's many ways that you can help. In the description below, there are links to our show notes, to free guides, as well as our website and blog. However, the most important thing you can do is leave a comment and share this video with your friends. We continue to grow thanks to viewers like you. Now, principle 5. Each chromosome is made up of grandmother and grandfather segments. And that's the whole goal of visual phasing, is to divide up the chromosomes into which parts came from which grandparent. So the maternal chromosome is made up of your maternal grandfather and grandmother's segments. And same with your paternal chromosome. You don't have a chromosome that is partly a maternal grandmother and partly a paternal grandmother. That just can't happen. But each chromosome is going to have these segments, unless of course it is all from a grandfather or all from a grandmother. Now, principle 6 is that these segments only switch colors at a recombination point for that person. Now, we've already pointed out that these recombination points are discrete in that they almost never happen in more than one chromosome at a time. So as we're going through, whenever we identify where a recombination point is on a particular chromosome, we know that none of the other chromosomes have that recombination point. So with the data that we have, we want some sort of a starting point. And I'm going to use the largest no match or fully identical region, because that will give us information on a place of both people. Now, this is different from where we then start with 3 siblings, because we have more data with 3 siblings. So we're actually skipping over a bunch of steps with 3 siblings and just looking at these 2 siblings. So we're going to color the largest one. Now, just looking at this, this is the largest section. I'm going to color it with 4 distinct colors here because this is a no match region, so they don't match each other. So for person A, I have maroon and teal. And for person B, I have orange and purple. And what this means is that maroon and orange go together as either the maternal or the paternal. We don't know yet. And teal and purple go together as either the maternal or the paternal. Again, we don't know yet. So we've just colored the largest segment that we could that gives us information on both people. So then we go to our next step, is we want to use matches with known relationships to identify our segments. So let's take a look at a match. And what I've done is I've put it just underneath each one of these chromosomes. So this is a match to a grandparent, which is a Hankinson grandparent. And we have underneath A, how the match looks there. And we have underneath B, how the match looks there. What we can see is that this blue area actually covers this part all right in here. Now we have 2 colors there. One of those colors has to be a Hankinson. And in this case, since we've not assigned any labels to any of these, we can choose whichever color we want to be Hankinson. So in this case, I'm going to call the teal my Hankinson. And because, again, we have each chromosome is grandparent and grandmother, I can then label purple, which is connected with Hankinson, as the other grandparent. And in this case, that would be brown. So I've identified Hankinson and brown in this part. Now I happen to know that these are on the maternal side. So I know that this bottom chromosome for each one of these is the maternal chromosome, which means the top one is the paternal chromosome, although I haven't identified the names of the segments yet. Then I also want to extend the segments and add any new segments as needed. So let's take a look here. So we've already shown that this blue that matches, well, that's going to be able to extend all the way here and actually extend a little bit right there. Likewise, we know that, hey, this is a Hankinson match, so these sections right here are going to be able to be labeled as Hankinson. And these sections right here are going to be able to be labeled as a Hankinson. Now, because, and this is a key of thinking about this logically, because there was not a match over here, I can actually label that end segment as a brown. It's a no match region. And I can also label this segment here as a brown because it is also a no match region. So I've actually expanded this maternal chromosome into a lot of areas now with just one match. So the next step is then to identify our recombination points. Now remember, a recombination point occurs when there is a color change. And that's what we're looking for on these grandparent segments, is where do the grandparents change. As we're looking at this, we can see that on B, we have a grandparent change right there. And so I've labeled that as a B recombination point. We can also see that we have on A grandparent change right there. And so that one has been labeled as a recombination point. So now that we have labeled our recombination points, we can go through and we can extend segments across our recombination points. Well, here we know that this line right here is B, and this line right here is A, but it's already accounted for down here. So we're able to extend this maroon all the way over to the end because we've already accounted for our 2 recombination points. And likewise, we can extend the orange all the way over to our end. Now remember, the maroon and the orange here represent our paternal chromosomes. We don't know which one is which grandparent yet, but because of the rules of visual phasing, we're able to start to identify fuller what segments are being contained with these. So let's look at step number 10. We want to now just repeat steps number 6 through 9 with other matches. In other words, we want to try to gather more matches and see how we can go through and paint stuff. So let's use a different match here. This is going to be a Geisler match. Now this match only matched person A. They didn't match person B. And you might think, well, that's not very good, but let's see what kind of data we can get from this. Now we know that this is a paternal match. So we're going to be looking at the maroon and orange lines right here. And as we're looking at this line, we can see that, hey, this covers this area right in here. We already know that part of this is maroon. And so that match is going to be Geisler. That maroon is going to be Geisler. So what I've done is I've gone through and I've extended that out so it covers the whole segment up to the next recombination point, and I've labeled it as Geisler. Now that also means that the one down below is going to be Zumstein, which is the other grandparent on the paternal side. Now we don't know too much more, but what we do know is that this is a fully matched region right here, which means that this right here in this little segment is going to have to be that Geisler, that maroon. One other thing that we can also see here is that on this recombination point, there is no recombination on person A. So that means that that is going to have to be a person B recombination. Now we don't know which one is changing yet, but we know that that is going to be B. So I've labeled that B right now. Let's do another match, and this is a brown match. So we're looking back at the maternal chromosome again, and we can see that we have this area that both of them match the exact same. And it is in this area right here. We know that that is going to be a brown. Now, in this case, because this is a half match area, that means they're going to have different colors on the paternal side because they're both going to have browns right in this area. So let's color this as a brown, and that actually makes a nice large segment there for us. Now, because we don't have any data yet on the paternal side of that, we can't color the top of that just yet. But we can go through and we can identify now another recombination point, because we see this Hankinson changing to brown, and that's going to mean that we are going to say that, hey, this is another recombination point. So far, we have quite a bit of this solved. And here's the amazing thing. We've looked at 3 matches so far. Just 3 matches for this one chromosome. Now, you're going to be doing this for all 22 chromosomes. But we've identified 4 of our 7 recombination points, more than half of them. And if you look at the colors, we've got roughly about 65% of all the segments assigned to a grandparent, which is pretty great. So you might be able to find another couple of segments, if you can find another Zumstein and a Geisler that fits in the first half of those chromosomes, and you're going to have this chromosome almost completely identified with just a few segments. And that is how you do visual phasing with just 2 people. It is, again, a little bit different in that we're relying mainly on our matches to identify and assign those segments, but it is with a handful of matches, you can actually get most of the chromosome identified. And again, going through 22 chromosomes for each of these, it's actually, you'll be amazed at how much you can actually identify with just a few matches. And as you're finding more and more matches, you can be able to solve almost all of these 22 chromosomes. So if you would like to watch the visual phasing series, you can start with this video up top here. But if you want to learn something else about DNA, then try this video down below. I just recorded everything using the streaming button rather than the record button, so now I have to do it all over again.